Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to learning about essential oils 101 and how to really bring it into your lifestyle and develop some healthy habits with essential oils. So I'm Kara Blattman-Rock, founder of doTERRA Israel, and I'm here with Celestia French. She's my partner in health crime of teaching people healthy habits with essential oils and many other tools, but our focus today will be essential oils and the basics. And the company that we align with is doTERRA. Because of their certified pure therapeutic grade, we can trust them for their potency and their therapeutic ability to help beyond just feeling good. So really what I loved about my introduction to plant-based medicine was it can be very complicated and there's many different tools to use in the plant world. And although I personally could say I'm interested in all of them, I knew in reality I needed to narrow it down to a focus and something that I felt could be super effective and safe. Because at the time when I was introduced to essential oils, I just had my second baby. So I had a 2-year-old on my hip and a newborn in the pack. And I didn't really have any solutions on how to take care of them when things came up in the home. And the legacy that my family had passed on to me, although not bad, was just not what I was resonating with. I didn't want to go into the emergency room or just allopathic medicine practices of over-the-counter medication. I knew I had been practicing yoga personally myself and doing Ayurveda for myself, so I knew that there was natural remedies that could be effective and safe for our children. And so I was introduced to essential oils 12 years ago and fell in love with them immediately and saw the effectiveness immediately with my children. And so that's what I think the majority of our focus is going to be, just family. We'll always give some examples of kid use, safe use with children, and then for ourselves as mothers and family caretakers, the use for the entire family. So I want to share the screen and I can send this pamphlet out to anybody that wants it, because you can print it out and have it there as a guide. But this, I love just the title, Essential Oils Made Easy. I feel like essential oils are inherently easy, and I bet you can agree with me, Celestia. I just feel like once you open up a cap and start smelling it, your intuition kicks in and you're guided into what to use and how to use it. But the beautiful thing about this particular company is there's wellness advocates and people to mentor you and help you on this journey safely and effectively. So just some basics about essential oil uses. It's from nature. An essential oil is it comes from either the leaf, the stem, the plant, the root, a part of the plant, and it's expressed through the plant. Either if it's a citrus, then it's coming from the rind, so it's cold pressed like we do to olives to get olive oil, same way with the citrus oils. Or if it's more of a plant-based and you're getting the oil off the leaf, then it's steam distilled, and it's done in a very precise and exact way to get the potency and the purity from the plant. And it's in Ayurveda, we call it the prana, the living source of the plant. And so the essential oil is the prana of the plant. It's still living and live and dynamic. And so it's extracted from the plants. And human beings' physiological makeup is very similar to plants. We're walking, breathing, talking plants. And so we use essential oils, the prana of the plant, like the plant uses it. So I love the use of essential oils because our body knows what to do with it. And it's really important when you go into the lifestyle and the use of essential oils that the purity is shown by the company. doTERRA is called Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, CPTG, because they're third-party tested rigorously on 3 to 5 different times. They're tested from source to bottling process to shipping out to us. their plants are grown in place of origination, which is very important. I get a little geeky around this because in Ayurveda, you're taught that the potency of your medicine, it's more potent when the plant is grown in its place of origination. So all Ayurvedic herbs are usually, the good ones anyways, are sourced from India or the different regions that they naturally grow in, because their potency will be stronger. And so in essential oil science, that has been discovered as well. And so these oils can be broken down to their chemical constitutes, and you can see the potency and test the potency. And so this company is about purity, which is very important. And I know all of us natural mamas think that's so important, but the next step is purity, because if you really want it to work as your family's natural medicine, then the potency needs to be looked at as just as important as purity. So, and that leads us into the second point of effectiveness. Then it will be effective. Essential oils can cross the blood-brain barrier to affect the central nervous system. They also can cross into a cell and penetrate the level of a cell. No medication made in the industry can cross over into cells. And I think that's probably a good thing. But that's why most medication is not helpful for a virus. Right. And so essential oils can penetrate into the cell and disrupt the virus and help the body to get rid of the virus or microorganism or any type of bacteria that's entered into the body, because that's what it does in plants, and it's doing it in the human plant as well. And then the beauty of essential oils is that it's affordable. Like, you get one of these bottles and maybe your lavender, for example, is $19, and you may think for this little thing it's $20, but you use one drop, and in a bottle there's 250 drops. So one drop, I mean, we have to do the math, but I think it's pennies. It's pennies, and that's right. And that's the medicine that you need to take care of so many things. So we're gonna talk about each one of these oils now. I'm gonna pass it over to Celestia, because she's gonna talk about the ways you use essential oils safely and why you'd use them that way. And then we'll go into the individual oils.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction to essential oils. I think it's really so powerful and important to understand just the power and the efficacy of nature's medicine, is how I like to think of it too, because they are just so accessible, for all of the reasons that you just mentioned. And so there are three main ways to use essential oils, and I'll go into each one of them and give you examples of each. But the first, and probably the most common that I usually use essential oils in my household, especially in a household with small children, is aromatically, because it can help to reduce airborne pathogens. And it's also, we didn't really talk too much about this, and maybe we'll get to at some point, but it's amazing how effective essential oils are for our olfactory senses, in that it can, as you said, get into the blood-brain barrier, and also to affect our memory. So it's really ideal for respiratory distress, also emotional issues of any kinds, whether it's anxiety or depression, even just taking the lid, something as simple as literally taking the lid off of a bottle, use my lavender, for example, and smelling it, and literally within moments, it's within your whole bloodstream, and it's just a really effective way to use the essential oils. And so there are a few ways just to do that in terms of using the essential oils aromatically. So like I said, you can literally just take the lid off of a bottle and smell it if you just have something in your purse or need something immediately. But otherwise, there are a lot of wonderful diffusers that are super helpful for diffusing larger spaces. Again, like I mentioned, to get pathogens out of rooms. Like if you have someone sick in your house and you're trying to get the airborne pathogens or bacteria or things like that out of a room quickly and effectively. There are a lot of different types of diffusers. doTERRA does sell quite a few, and we don't need to go into that, but that's a really, it's nice to know that they have such great resources for using the essential oils aromatically, but also even something as simple as putting some on. Sometimes I do this, like in my car, for example. I'll just put a few drops on a cotton ball and leave it in my car, and just within moments, the whole car is just flooded with that delicious, delightful smell. But also, you're getting the antiviral, antibacterial, antipathogenic properties of the oil just by smelling it. So I think that that's really pretty amazing. The second way that you can use essential oils is topically, by placing the oils directly onto your skin, on your hair, in your mouth, on your nails, just putting it literally on your body. And so there are some essential oils that you can use neat, which means without a carrier oil. Or you can also use them diluted. Some of them are, especially when using them with children, it's really important to dilute the essential oils properly. And maybe we can talk a little bit about dilution ratios as well. But it takes about 30 seconds for the essential oil to go from your skin and get into your bloodstream and just starting to move throughout your body. But for direct application, you can apply like 1 to 4 drops onto your skin, the area of concern. You can put them on the soles of your feet, along your spine, really just depending on what you're using the essential oil for. You can also use it for massage. That's a really wonderful way to get the therapeutic benefits of the essential oil. So adding it again into a carrier oil and massaging your whole body, or just a specific part that you're looking to relax. I know we'll talk about deep blue here in a little while, Miss Kara. Maybe that would be a good one to talk about for massage. But also, like if you are familiar with reflexology, you can put them specifically on reflex points. So whether you, I know a lot of people that like to use the essential oils might also have background in Chinese medicine or reflexology or even acupuncture, and know where specific acupressure points are along the body. And that can be a really effective way as well. Another way that you can use it topically is a hot or cold compress. Again, like if you're, for example, having period cramps, or you had a really intense workout or pulled a muscle, you can make a hot or a cold compress, putting the essential oils in there and just putting it directly onto the spot that needs a little extra TLC. My super duper extra favorite, especially right now, is to use them topically in the bath. I like to put like maybe a cup of Epsom salts in the bathtub, pour the essential oil directly onto the Epsom salts, let them cross-homogenate. I'm trying to think of the right word.
Yeah, absorb or
Absorb,
what is
that
it?
word, exactly. Thank
Emulsify. Emulsify, I think is the actual word. Mm-hmm.
Get the essential oils to emulsify with the salts, because the oils are hydrophobic. So if you just put them, the problem with putting them straight on top of the water is that they will just literally, the drops will just sit on top of the water. So they need something like a salt or another oil to emulsify and then disperse into a bath, for example. And that's probably all I need to say about topical uses. Kara, is there anything else that you'd like to add about topical uses?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could talk about dilution now. Like there's 2 reasons to dilute, according to Dr. Hill, which is our chief medical examiner with doTERRA, is you dilute because you're wanting to decrease the strength of the oil. So we always recommend diluting when you're using essential oils for children, especially 6 and under is kind of the protocol, like dilute if you're using it for children 6 and under. And dilute, like I'm not an expert on ratios exactly, but I kind of do where it's a drop of oil in your hand and then about a nickel size of a carrier oil. And carrier oils can be, those of us that are part of doTERRA, we love the fractionated coconut oil. It's pretty much the only carrier oil I use. And it's a coconut oil that doesn't get hard. They removed a fatty acid chain, so it never gets hard. And it also doesn't have a smell to it, so it doesn't compete with the essential oil. But you can use almond oil or jojoba oil or any type of plant oil that you like. But my general rule is like a palm size, like a nickel size of coconut oil with 1 drop of the oil that you want to apply to the child. So number one, you dilute because you're wanting to lessen the intensity of the essential oil because they can be really strong.
Mhm.
And that way, when you mix it with an oil, it's not going to not cause sensitivity to the skin, but it'll also absorb into the body slower. The second reason why you would dilute is if you were using the essential oil for skin attention. So if you were using your essential oil, like we'll talk about frankincense and how great it is for anti-aging of the skin. And so if you're wanting to use frankincense for the anti-aging qualities that it provides for your skin, if you put it straight on your skin, it's going to absorb immediately into the bloodstream and work on other beautiful ways in the body, but not on your skin. So you would dilute it with your natural skin cream or coconut oil so that it stays on your skin and does the work on your skin. Um, so if you had a skin rash, for example, and we'll talk about what you'd use for that, lavender and melaleuca are a great combination for skin rash. You would dilute it with carrier oil because you'd want it to stay on the surface and work on that eczema or on that rash and not immediately absorb into the bloodstream and do its work there. So those are the two reasons why you dilute: for safety and making it less strong for elderly or young children, and two, because you're specifically wanting it to stay on the surfaces of the skin and do its work on the surface.
Right.
And so then we could go into internal use. You take it.
Yes, well, that's exactly right. So the third way to use the essential oils is internally, and I would like to just say, I only advocate, and I'm sure Kara feels the same way, for taking essential oils internally if it's from doTERRA, because there are so many other um, lower quality essential oils that either just are not as high quality, or they've already gone rancid, or they're have synthetic additives. So I would not take an essential oil internally at all, ever, unless it's from doTERRA. I know there are a couple other really good high quality essential oil companies, but doTERRA is just the one that I trust, and that's the only one that I would trust to go in my body via, my mouth, for example. So a couple ways that you can do that. So again, depending on the situation, you can put a couple drops of essential oil in a capsule. They sell little veggie capsules that you can place the essential oils in and take them internally that way. You can also take a drop under your tongue. I do that almost every single day with frankincense, for example. You can do it in drinking water. So again, as I mentioned, the essential oils are hydrophobic, so it's going to sit on the top of the water. So if you're going to do that, I would also recommend either, again, a little tiny pinch of like Himalayan salt or sea salt, and adding the drop of essential oil there, a little bit of water, mixing that up, and then filling up your water bottle the rest of the way, or your tea or something like that. It needs something like, even if you are, for example, making a cup of peppermint tea, shall we say, to put something like a cream or almond milk or honey that it can mix with first and absorb, and then add the rest of the water that way. And that's a really powerful and effective way to use them internally as well. But I usually like to also fill up my water bottle, and just like if I'm drinking if we all know how important hydration is, and that's one really wonderful way that I personally, and kind of just a side note, already getting into the uses, to remember to stay hydrated, I like to add one drop of like lemon or grapefruit or something, for example, to my water bottle, and it makes it taste delicious, and you're also getting the benefits of the essential oil that way. And I also like to cook with it sometimes, like peppermint brownies, for example. So there are a lot of different ways to add them to salad dressings, or to marinades, or to baking recipes, or even to some things like energy balls or smoothies. You can add a drop of essential oil to those as well, and that's a really wonderful way. Um, but a really quick note, especially if you are taking them internally, and especially if you are doing something like putting them in a water bottle, for example, the essential oils are so powerful that they will eat the phytochemicals in plastic. So never, ever, ever put essential oils in a plastic container. It always requires glass or stainless steel. So if you have a glass or a stainless steel water bottle, that would be an appropriate use of taking it internally. So I'm pretty sure that is that concludes how we can use the essential oils. Kara, shall we dive into some of these specific wonderful oils from the list that we chose?
Yes, So we chose what doTERRA refers to as the home essentials or the healthy home kit. It's the first 10 oils that they feel like every home could benefit, or we feel that every home could benefit from. I heard, and I really believe in this quote, that like with this kit and a book or an application or a mentor, like doTERRA has great um, reference books that you can use, essential oil books that you can use. Yeah, yeah. I don't have my modern essentials with me, but I have tons of books. And then they have a great app on your phone. This modern essentials book, they have an app, and I use the app on my phone all the time. But with your kit and the app, you can really create remedies at home for over 80% of stuff that's occurring in your family's health. And then the other 20% do seek, medical advice outside of your essential oils, but find professionals that really resonate and represent the lifestyle that you're wanting to observe. And like I've found a lot of professionals that really feel like using essential oils as your supplementary care at home is credible, and therefore they complement our lifestyle when I have to use them for other reasons. But mostly we don't have to, thank God, because of our lifestyle. And the essential oils are a huge part of our lifestyle. We use them every day, me, my husband, and my 4 children. And so let's go over, in this kit, there's 6 single oils and then 4 blends. So we'll go over the single oils first. And I think we should start with the queen, which is lavender. And lavender is the queen. And she's based on from the flower of the lavender plant. There she is, Miss Lavender. And so I love lavender, like Celestia said, you could just smell it out of the bottle. I like to just drop a drop in my hand and rub it together and smell. And one of my favorite little therapies throughout the day is choosing an oil and smelling it for a minute or two. And I cup my hands around my nose to really take in the full aroma. And when you breathe out, let that exhale come through the hands. Don't keep your exhalation in your hands, because you don't want to be breathing back your exhalation. And if you could sit there with your oil for at least a minimum of 60 seconds, which is not long, but if you could maximize it to 3 minutes and get this little tiny meditation in too. And all flower oils are calming. That's kind of the main characteristic of florals. And so florals are like lavender, rose, magnolia, jasmine, ylang-ylang. All those are calming. They're calming for the mind. They're calming for the heart. They're calming for the skin. They have the same qualities of calming and soothing. And so lavender's really, really well known for being very versatile. It's a great oil to use at night to help your body to go into sleep state faster and to stay in that REM state deeper and longer, so that you really feel refreshed when you wake up in the morning. So it's a great oil to put in your diffuser in your room at night for you or for your children. And also it's working on the emotional body of being able to release nervousness, anxiety, and keeping you in this calm mental state, so that you also wake up feeling calmer and ready to take on your day with this connection and flow with the universe, and not struggling. And from a topical use, so this is aromatically using lavender. Topically, it is the best oil for any type of skin irritation, because lavender has high levels of a chemical that helps with inflammation and a histamine response. So if you're having allergy in the skin, like a skin rash or an allergic reaction to something, or a bee sting or a bug sting, and your body is reacting and creating a histamine response, when you put lavender on it immediately, you can choose to do it neat if you know that you are okay with lavender straight on the skin. Kids generally tend to be a little sensitive to lavender because it can be a little spicy on the skin. So I always suggest diluting. And doTERRA now makes these touch oils where everything comes in a roller and it's already diluted with coconut oil. So I ended up getting most of these oils in the two versions that they're offered, the dropper version, the droplet version for me and the diffuser and my husband, but then the roller version to just go immediately onto the children's skin and it already be pre-diluted. I'm just in a point in life where things need to be quick. And 4 kids, you gotta apply that stuff quick.
It's on there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's lavender. I have a kid trying to get into the door right now. So Celestia, I'm gonna have you take over peppermint while I go check on this little darling.
Absolutely. And maybe while I'm going to talk a little bit about peppermint, but before I do that, I might, and go ahead, Kara, you can go ahead and do what you need to do.
Yeah, and add to lavender.
Just specifically on to lavender is that I call it the boo-boo oil because, I mean, any of us who have children or anyone in the house, it's really, it's you know, as Kara was saying, anything with a histamine reaction, great to put on skin topically, but also, like if you have burns or bruises or scratches, it's a really effective way to help those heal more quickly. And it's also an analgesic oil, which is really helpful for taking pain away more quickly. So that's the only other thing that I would say about lavender specifically. So here's the peppermint essential oil. It's one of my very, very, very favorites. And it can be used for many different purposes. I like to use this every day aromatically just to help me get more energized. It's a really wonderful energizing oil. I'm going to take a little. It's a really wonderful, specifically respiratory oil. So if you have anything going on, like a respiratory issue where you're having trouble breathing or an asthma attack, or again, would like to just clear pathogens out of the air, then peppermint is a really wonderful and effective oil to use for that. It's also an antibacterial oil, so that's another good one to diffuse if you're just needing to get more energized. It's really lovely to it just lends a really beautiful smell into the room and helps keep you energized and feeling alert. But it's also a nice way to get airborne pathogens out of the room as well. Topically, it's a very cooling oil, so I would not put it on something like a sunburn like I would with lavender. But if you have, for example, if you don't have something like the deep blue, you can use it topically diluted because you will definitely feel it. But if you have like a muscle ache or a muscle spasm or something like that, that can be really very, very helpful to help take some of the pain or discomfort away from that as well. And also topically, sometimes it can be very useful for digestive discomfort. So for example, if you're having a bloaty or gassy kind of day or just ate too much of something that's not agreeing with you, nausea, stomach cramping, things like that, it's a really helpful essential oil for something like that. So I, like Kara recommends, just put a little bit of a carrier oil, especially if it's going on a tummy of a little one. But even for a grown-up, I think since it's such a strong oil, I recommend putting just a few drops of whatever carrier oil in your palm and 1 drop of peppermint, and then just rubbing it all over your whole core, front and back, because I think that just helps get everything dealt with more quickly. So anything else that you'd like to add specifically for peppermint? I don't usually use peppermint internally unless I'm adding it to a recipe where it's going to be very, very well diluted. So something like, for example, the peppermint brownies or an energy ball, like a chocolate energy ball. But otherwise, I think that just aromatic and topical use are just extremely effective. Kara, do you have anything to add for peppermint?
So I love peppermint for topically for fever or headaches. So those are the 2 ways that I really learned to use it for the kids and for myself. I occasionally have like stress-induced headaches from just, I think, being a multitasker and having a lot on my plate, as a lot of women and mothers can relate to. So occasionally I get stress headaches. They might be mildly migraine. And so the combination of lavender and peppermint, I love that combination on the back of my neck and then kind of the crown of my hairline. If you get too close to your eyes, it burns and now you have a headache and really burning eyes. So you try to stay just kind of at the edge and into the temples and then the back of your head. And I have seen that applying it once does not work. You need to apply it a couple times. So I apply it once and I wait about 15, 20 minutes, and then I apply it a second time. And usually the second application is the trick. And so that's the thing about essential oils is by adding more, like, okay, one drop is not like, I just want to get rid of this headache, so I'm going to do 10 drops and apply it. That's not how essential oils work. It's one drop, so less is more, and you do it more frequently. So that's how essential oils work. You use less, but you do it more often. So really, I do one drop of peppermint and one drop of lavender, and I've become really sensitive to the oils. I used to always be able to do them neat, but now I usually dilute, and I do want to keep it kind of on the forehead and the back of my neck. So I put a little coconut oil and really just massage it into the back of my neck and right back behind the occiput and the base of the skull, and then into my temples. And then 15 minutes later, I do the same thing, one drop of each with a little bit of coconut oil, apply it again. I usually lie down for just a little bit, like 5 minutes or so, to let it absorb and calm everything down. And then I can really get rid of a pretty crazy headache with that remedy. And I've had lots of people confirm that that's really effective for them as well, migraines included. And there's a whole research study on that combination and getting rid of migraines. And I know migraine medication can be super intense and most of the time not effective. And now we found that one drop of peppermint and one drop of lavender, a total of 75 cents maybe or 50 cents, can get rid of a migraine. Yeah, amazing. And then because it's cooling and it's an antipyretic, peppermint, it can bring down fevers. And in Ayurveda, your heat source is in the middle of your body, right around the belly button. So that's a great place to put it. And I like to combine those two again. They work so well together, lavender and peppermint. Dilute it, because I'm usually talking about fevers for children, but adults get them too. Dilute it, rub it around the belly button. It usually also takes 2 applications for you to really see the fever come down, but you can apply it again in as little as 15 minutes, and then you'll see the fever come down. And lavender's calming. It helps the baby or yourself go to sleep. And then that sleep is another great medicine to letting the body heal and get rid of that fever naturally. And so I do use peppermint. I love the beadlets, but I don't have the beadlets to show right now. So I don't know why my video is not pinning, but I do a tiny little, it's not even a drop. It's like kind of a little tap, and I lick it, and just after every meal, because I just have a sensitive and finicky digestive system. It's always been something that's followed me since childhood. And so just to assure that I absorb and digest my food well, I do that especially after a lunch and dinner meal. And it also is this natural, it kills bacteria in the mouth. And so it's like a natural breath freshener, because I'm really against gum. Ayurveda really feels like gum tricks your body into thinking it's still eating. So then it doesn't digest your food. And when do people usually chew gum? Right after they finished eating, because they want to freshen their breath. But your body thinks you're still eating, because your mastication muscles in your mouth is what starts the first phase of digestion. So your body stays in that phase of digestion as long as you chew gum. Yeah.
Perpetually
yeah.
Not eating your body and
right.
it.
Right. So gum is like the worst aid for your digestion. It's the worst thing you can do for your digestion. So that's peppermint. Let's move on to lemon. So I'll lead with lemon, and then you can take over and add your 2 cents with lemon. Lemon is, it's one of my favorite oils. I mean, there's really not an oil that I don't like, but I love the affordability of lemon and that it's so user friendly. It can be used for everything. I do lemon in my warm water every morning. It's an Ayurvedic remedy of squeezed lemon, and then I've added the lemon oil for the properties that you get from lemon oil. It's different than the juice of the lemon, and it's it pulls out PBCs and different little toxins and plastics out of the body, and allows you to just eliminate it through your urine or your sweat. It's really good for the kidney, and it's just cleansing for the entire system, and it's alkalinizing, so it helps to bring pH levels to a more balanced level in the body. And it's just exactly what it is. It's so cleansing, it's so purifying. All citrus oils are uplifting. They're called they're natural, um, positive, invoking emotions. So you can call it this natural antidepressant, all citrus oils. So it's great aromatically in the diffuser. Um, Topically, I don't use it so much topically, but maybe Celestia can talk about it. I know that it's really great for the skin, but you would only use it at night because it is the word I'm looking for, photosensitive. So if you put it on your skin during the day and went out into the sun, you would cause sunburn or discoloration of the skin where you put the lemon. So you only want to use it at night. And at night, what is the properties? Do you know why it's useful on the skin at night?
Well, it's so from what I understand, it can be really helpful for broken capillaries, and also there's still some research that I need to look into onto this, but for like age spots. So it's interesting because topically, lemon works both internally and topically and aromatically, I guess all three. But specifically with regards to lemon in the skin, I think it can be helpful for age spots. And so internally, I think that it just offers, like you were saying, the kidney support, but also the liver support and the detoxification properties. So you're kind of cleansing yourself from the inside out, but then topically, it also can be helpful, like you say, at night. So don't wear it at all during the day, to help with age spots. But again, diluted and only at night. And then the only other thing that I would say about lemon, because I would have said exactly the same thing that you just said about lemon. I drink my lemon water every morning with just with a squeeze of half a lemon and 1 drop of lemon essential oil. I've been doing that for well over 15 years now, and that is like the one health hack that I offer to just about everybody, because it's such a wonderful way to start the day and get peristalsis moving. So eliminating having a good bowel movement first thing in the morning, but just gentle cleansing first thing in the morning, such a great idea. But then also, as you were saying, lemon and all citrus oils, they are natural antidepressants, but they're also what's called adaptogenic oils. And so if you're feeling low, or like you're exhausted or tired or depressed, then it can help lift you energetically. But it also, if you're feeling anxious, can help take your energy down. So I love adaptogens for that reason, that it's like whatever your body needs, it knows what to do and to help you move forward. So that's the only other thing that I'd say about lemon essential oil, and really any of the other citrus oils specifically, is that they're
Right.
adaptogenic.
And lavender, I think, is also adaptogenic, is it?
I think it is. I think you're
Mm-hmm.
right. And then the only other thing that I would say about lemon and other citrus oils like grapefruit, but lemon specifically, is that it's good for cellulite. So topically, sometimes, can we talk about cellulite for a second?
Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
cellulite.
So if that's something that you're working with, and I don't know anybody who's not, just to normalize it, that you can add a drop of lemon essential oil to whatever carrier oil, and then rub it on the problem areas and really get in there, like either skin brush first, or just really massage it, or then foam roll afterwards, so that way it really absorbs into the areas where cellulite is present. And after a few weeks, you can really start to notice a difference. So that's another
Yeah, I'm gonna
lemon.
start doing that.
Too, if you don't if you don't have lemon but you do have grapefruit, that's another way you
Right.
can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have to say about lemon.
Awesome. So let's go over your tea tree. Well, we call it in doTERRA melaleuca, which is its Latin name, but everybody else knows it as tea tree. It originates from Australia, and that's where ours comes from. And there's some ancient history about tea tree in the waters of Australia, where the first kind of founders and the explorers of Australia, they would get like fungus and all types of feet problem of just being wet and being on the boat and just being dirty. And they would call the waters of Australia these healing waters, because it was just, tea tree was just seeped into all the waters from the trees and from the roots of the trees and the leaves of the trees falling in it. And so they just called them these magical healing waters, because they'd get into them and they'd get rid of their foot fungus and all their different stuff that they were carrying with them. And that's the beauty of tea tree, is it it doesn't have this aroma that you want to like put it in a diffuser and smell it all night, because it's very medicinal smelling.
Mhm.
But I have been using, it's one of my favorite oils because it's so multi-purpose, and it really is so effective in what it's supposed to and meant to do. It's it's meant to, it's a really mild oil, but very strong in its ability to manage fungus, viruses, any type of fungal issues going on in the body, whether it's internal fungal, like, and yeast and candida. So you can take Melaleuca internally. It is one that you wouldn't take every day for the rest of your life. You do need to take breaks from it, because it is quite a strong oil, and it can be absorbed and retained in the adipose tissue. So you don't want to get. So generally, we would say I just use the normal formula of, like, if you are dealing with something internal yeast or candida, and you want to bring that down and work with Melaleuca, 2 weeks of taking it, and then 2 weeks of taking a break from it. And but it's great for nail health. If you're dealing with any difficulties around toenails or foot health, Melaleuca is great. There's a whole video about how it works, where, like, if your body makes this natural defense system when you get a wound or an open wound, where it immediately develops this protective layer to go over the wound, which is really smart and effective. But sometimes it can cause problems of the wound not healing as fast as it needs to be. And so Melaleuca is an oil that can penetrate that natural barrier that your skin already makes, to then go in and work on the infection. And doTERRA, they're so proactive in their research and how they're working with their oils. And there is an orthopedic hospital, I believe it's in Colorado, that is using Melaleuca, and they're placing a safe amount of it in the surgical site, because
Mhm.
there are so many, they have to redo so many shoulder replacements and knee replacements because of the introduction of bacteria that occurs during surgery that's just hard to prevent. And so then people are coming back constantly to have to redo the surgery, because bacteria infections rage in those types of surgeries. And so they're seeing that when they introduce a small amount of Melaleuca into the surgical site before they close up, that they are not having to do surgery over again on any of those cases. So it's just brilliant. Like, one drop of Melaleuca, like, it costs like 20 cents. And if they would just do that in almost all surgical cases, they would save millions, billions of dollars for people. And so I love Melaleuca for that exact reason. Like, it speeds up the body's ability to heal for outside wounds. It's amazing for acne for ourselves or our children. Just one little application. I feel like Melaleuca is softer than lavender. I use it neat all the time, and I've seen that my kids are not sensitive to it either. People think Melaleuca is really strong on the skin. It's strong smelling, but it actually is quite soft on the skin.
For
And so
trouble.
for, yeah, any type of infection, Melaleuca. If I start to feel a little bit of a throat, like, me or my kids, we've probably gotten strep before, but we've never gotten diagnosed with strep, because we always deal with it first with Melaleuca. We take any type of funniness going on in the throat, a little drop in 4 ounces of water or less, and we gargle it and kind of get it on, and most it onto the throat, and then swallow it, so that we get that antiviral, bacterial help in the stomach. So that is, I think we talked now about mostly topical and internal use of Melaleuca. Do you have anything to add about Melaleuca tea tree?
Yes, just a couple of really brief things. So, like you said, I think that Melaleuca is a really powerful, or tea tree, is a really powerful essential oil. I use it mostly topically for like if there's a blemish or something going on with my skin. This is like immediately the first thing that I go to. But also, I
Yeah.
think for health, we haven't talked too much about how so much of our immune system starts actually in our mouth. So I'm really happy that you talked about being able to gargle it, or even just swish it around in your mouth, or even oil pulling with it to
Hmm.
really start having a healthier mouth gargling, or excuse me, oil pulling with it. Coconut oil, for example, and a drop of Melaleuca is a wonderful, powerful way to not only affect the biota in your mouth, but also to help whiten your teeth. And Melaleuca isn't the tooth whitening agent the coconut oil would be, but also, I like to floss with it. So if I just put one drop on a piece of dental floss and I floss with it, and it's a really wonderful way to just help promote gun health. Excuse me, gum health. So that's really all I have to say about Melaleuca or tea tree oil. I think that it's a really powerful, but like you say, it has a very strong aroma. But I've also noticed that topically, it doesn't feel quite as strong as, say,
Hmm.
lavender or
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah. So again, like Melaleuca, one last story about Melaleuca, and then we have to move on. Is it just, with having four babies and thank God being introduced to the essential oils for all of them, I found that Melaleuca and lavender, that combination was good for any type of skin stuff that came up with the kids. And it was what I used for diaper rash, not neat, because that would be torture for the baby. But like, um, yeah, and still to this day, I have a 3-year-old, and she talks about needing a little help with her with down there. She uses the word coochie, which I think is really cute. But she's like, I need my coochie. I need oils for my coochie, and and so and so we have I don't know if I have it with me, but it's I don't, but I'll just show you another one that's not it exactly, but it's the touch version of lavender and melaleuca. So it's really diluted with coconut oil. And so then I just put a little bit on my fingers and apply it to the diaper rash or to the area of concern. And it's just immediately like, there's a little bit of a placebo that we're actually like doing something, putting our hands on our babies and helping them to feel better. But those two plants really make a difference in releasing any discomfort that they're feeling. Because like Celestia said, lavender has this analgesic property to it. So it's like slightly numbing. And then the melaleuca goes in and the lavender work together to get rid of any bacterial infection that's causing that rash. And so it's like immediately, like the next day it's gone. Or another way that I like to do it, gone. Yeah. And then the other way I like it, especially if you're catching it kind of at the beginning, if it's gotten infected and been a more chronic issue, then which I took care of this family that had used 2 forms of steroid creams for this crazy diaper rash that their young baby had. It was awful. And I happened to be there when they were changing the baby's diaper, and I saw it, and you couldn't help but like, oh my gosh, how can I help you? And they had said they'd already gone 2 months using this creams that the doctors had given them with no results. And I gave them a diluted little roller of the melaleuca and lavender with coconut oil. And in exactly 7 days, it was completely gone, from a Saturday to a Saturday, after they'd been already working 2 months with the doctor on it. So it's just amazing. Like, these tools are empowering. They're just empowering for us to be able to take care of our health effectively and safely for us and our entire family and community.
And for pennies on the dollar too. I mean, just
Yeah.
compared to like having this little set of oils for, I can't remember how much this specific kit costs, but then when you compare it to all of the other medications that you have to buy in order to treat these, and probably way less effectively. It's just fascinating, and really, like you use the word empowering. I
Yeah,
enjoy that very much.
right, exactly. So now we're going to move on to frankincense. Is there, I think we might have to skip a couple oils just because of time. And oregano is a great oil, but I might skip it just because it's not so sexy. And let's go into frankincense.
Because frankincense is sexy. Let me just
Yeah.
say that now.
Um, so frankincense was the oil that um, it was the oil that really, like, I smelled it and learned about it, and I just was like, I want to get that oil. And so that was like, frankincense was what convinced me to get the kit and get started with doTERRA. And because
It's always like that one oil that hooked you in.
yeah,
Mine was motel.
yeah,
So
yeah.
frankincense
So
was a course.
mine was frankincense, which is sexy, and then my other one was DigestZen, which is not so sexy. But so frankincense is just, it's considered the king of oil, but we could also call her a queen. But it kind of is an oil that complements everything and makes everything work just better, because all these oils work synergistically and they can work really well blended together. But frankincense, my reason for loving it is I love the smell. I really resonate with frankincense. Was used in all ancient traditions, Christian, Hindu, um, Jewish traditions, especially, which is my background. Like, it was burned in the temple 3 times a day because of its holiness. And in all ancient traditions, frankincense is part of their tradition. And it's so emotionally, it's really grounding and focusing and helps you to get into your higher chakras for connection to spirit or God or universal power, and just be connected to this source that's created you. And but then from a medicinal point of view, it helps to keep your cells healthy, and your cells duplicate. I mean, you've created a whole new cellular body in 90 days. And so your cells are duplicating constantly. And so frankincense really helps that duplication process to occur, health with 100% healthy cells duplicating themselves, because the last thing you want is non-healthy cells duplicating. And so frankincense has been studied for its ability to help the body duplicate cells rapidly and with health. So that is helpful for a lifestyle and habits for prevention of cancer and different things that occur because of our body's natural ability to duplicate cells. But if it's not duplicating them healthy, then you get into health complications. And so my mother had skin cancer. Thankfully, she got through it with allopathic medicine. But I just wanted to go into prevention and so I use frankincense on my face every day.
Same here.
You dilute it. Now they have a touch form. So I use the roller on my face because then it's already diluted with the coconut. But I love frankincense for my face and my face health and my skin health. But it's also the strongest anti-inflammatory oil. So Celestia takes it internally. I do as well, 1 drop under my tongue, just to keep inflammation in the body down and our pH levels balanced. So it's a good thing to supplement every day. And it's really helpful for if you're having pain. Um, we talked about peppermint for muscle pain or any type of body pain, adding frankincense, because it doesn't have any analgesic properties, so it won't numb the sensation, but it's anti-inflammatory, so it'll bring the heat out of the pain. And then it's just great prevention or care if you're dealing with an imbalance in cellular production and you are wanting to, if you're living with cancer and you want to use it in your cancer protocol, it's really helpful for that. Frankincense also is really great for lung health. So if you are having like asthma or breathing or coughing, it's great to add to this blend that we'll talk about next, called Breathe. It's air in Europe. And so, and anytime there's any type of respiratory thing, adding frankincense to that will really help. Because again, if you're having respiratory issues, if there's an inflammation in the bronchi or the lung, the different parts of the lungs, so frankincense helps. And ancient cultures used to suck on the resin of frankincense. They'd put it like dip right between their teeth, their gum and their teeth, to keep their lung health up. So anything you'd like to add about this beautiful oil?
Oh, just that it is really truly one of my very favorites. And I think that it's interesting that we have such similar uses for it. So frankincense is another one that I use every day, sometimes even just to smell it, but I do try to get it under the tongue daily. And I use it for my skin all the time as well. I'm a big fan of making most of my own skin products. Luckily, doTERRA has such wonderful, wonderful skin lines also that are very effective, but I like to add it to a facial tonic, just a hydrating spray to help with the cellular regeneration, excuse me. Also just helps with fine lines and wrinkles. I add it to whatever lotion for hands or face or body because it is such a powerful cellular regenerator. And I feel that it not only does this, I feel like this is really the king or the queen of oils, that it is great for all things and works synergistically with all other oils. But I like that it helps my body on a physical level, but I love it every morning for meditation. And when I meditate with frankincense or pray or however one connects with the divine, that is such a powerful oil. I can certainly speak to how the difference that I feel when I've just had a sniff of frankincense or put some on my third eye or on my crown chakra. Really
Yeah,
powerful oil. Love.
amazing.
This is one of my top three. If I could only bring 1 or 3 oils on a desert island, frankincense would be definitely
Yeah,
on there.
totally. And then rose. Rose would be my second
Oh,
one. Okay, but we're not talking about rose today. So we're going to go into we're not going to go into, we're going into the blends next, and we're going to move through them a little more quickly because we're going to run out of time. But mine's from Europe, so they call it air, but in the United States, they call it breathe. And it's a blend. doTERRA is the best at their blends. Like if you feel like you don't know what you're doing with essential oils and you're just a beginner and you're just learning, get their blends. And there's always a little bit of information about how to use them. But the doctors have produced these blends for exactly what we're saying. Like air and breathe is for respiratory health. So it's a nice blend of eucalyptus, ravensara, all these really amazing oils and a little more complicated oils in the blends, but peppermint, eucalyptus, ravensara, lemon, melaleuca, which we talked about. And then there's my eyes are getting a little bit strained here with this small print, camphor, and I think there's also cardamom. Yes, cardamom.
yeah, they did add cardamom. You're right. I think a
Yeah,
couple years ago, which was relatively recent.
right,
Cardamom, Ravenstera, and
right.
yeah, you got all the rest of them. Laurel leaf.
Yeah,
This is one of my
so
favorite blends.
it's like a godsend for the kids. I definitely use it when I need to, but I mostly use it for the kids because that's what comes up for them more often than it does for me, of coughing or congestion or runny nose. For some reason, it was like always happening in Israel, and I don't know why, because it's a warmer climate there, but it's wetter. And here it doesn't come up for us as much. But this has oils in it that are expectorant, so it helps to bring out the congestion. It also has um, uh, cough suppressant oils in it, so it can stop the cough. Because like the most annoying thing is when you're laying down to go to sleep, so your body can restore and heal, and then you're coughing all night. And it just hurts my heart with the little ones coughing all night. And I found this to be so effective in stopping that cough at night. Usually I have to apply it twice, so I have to be a really good mama and wake up in the middle of the night 4 hours later and apply it again when I start to hear them cough. But and the funny thing for me is I found it to be most effective on the feet, where those reflex points are for the lungs, and applying it with a little bit of coconut oil, giving them a foot massage, and they will not cough for about 4 to 6 hours. And I just got to wake up again and apply it, and then they'll get through the night completely without coughing. And it just really speeds up that healing time if they can sleep and not cough and get some relief from this blend. And then I double whammy them by putting a few drops in a diffuser in their room. But I really feel like the topical application on their feet is the most effective. And for us as adults, like if I get a cough, or 2 years ago, I think I had pneumonia. It was the first time that I've ever had pneumonia, and it kicked my tushy. And I was so thankful for air, and that's when I did the frankincense, those two together. And then I added, and then I added marjoram, which is kind of a sagey-like smelling oil. I love it. So those coconut oil all over my chest, and then a heat pad, a heat compress on my chest, sitting up slightly, really helped to keep me from coughing at night, because your body really needs to sleep. It's the best medicine, I think. You know, it's sleep and then essential oils. That's the order, and for the body to heal. So it's, and so if you're not, and so that those essential oils on your chest, and then you're able to sleep, you're going to get through that pneumonia. So breathe for you. Do you have any? And breathe also emotionally is like, it opens up the airways and allows you to breathe. So it has this emotional sense of just being taken care of, letting go of anxiety. I found that breathe is a really good oil for anxiety or panic attacks. I've had many clients tell me that wanting a remedy for a panic attack, and they're still using their medications if it's a severe case, but for people that have a little bit more mild case or even severe, they do the combination of their medication and breathe, because you have to stop. You take a drop in your hand is how I recommend. One full drop, rub your hands together and do that 3 minutes of just counting your breath, breathing in for 4, and then opening your hands and breathing out for 4. And look at your timer, even set it if you can, and stay there breathing in for 4 counts for 3 minutes. And that will really subside that panic attack. And you could add a drop of lavender for the calming effect in the mind as well. But the breathe is just really opens up the lungs, because a lot of times panic attacks then cause this constriction in the lungs, and like you can't breathe. And so then it just like takes the mind into this whole other place, like, okay, count my breath, breathe this oil. And it really helps with that type of emotional support. Anything you'd like to add about breathe?
You know, just exactly that. And like from an Ayurvedic standpoint, so I didn't mention as part of yoga therapy and my yoga teacher training, I did a lot of specialization in Ayurveda as well. And I think it's just interesting to notice that the seat of kapha is in the lungs. And so when we have respiratory issues, then it does just, grief is also housed in the lungs. So I think especially for right now, for anyone who's experiencing grief or anxiety or depression, it's just from like not only the physical standpoint of needing to release that kapha or that excess heaviness or that mucus, but also breathe is just really a wonderful way to open up the lungs and to open up our heart and to release and let go, and literally just like from the physical getting rid of mucus standpoint, also just being able to let go of grief and just open ourselves up to release, let go, and open and create space for something better to come in. So that's really all I would say about breathe, but also that it is very synergistic both with frankincense and lavender, topically and or aromatically. And like you said, with the kids, just creating like your own little Vicks Vapor Rub is such an effective way for adults or kids, again with the fractionated coconut oil or whatever carrier oil you decide to use, just a really effective on the front. And also I rub it on backs too as well. Just even just from a tension standpoint, sometimes I feel like that's not only help with the lungs, but also just since there's peppermint in there and so many of those analgesic and just anti-inflammatory oils or anti-inflammatory properties that can really help with just relaxing and letting go. So
right. And the lungs are so large, they're really, you're affecting them from the front and the back, so it's great to apply. Right. So On Guard is the next blend. Do you want to lead with On Guard? Yeah.
Sure, I would be happy to. So On Guard is something that we use every day, especially during cold and flu season. Generally speaking, we have it going in the diffuser 24/7, just especially with right now, with all the bacteria and viruses that are going around right now. We just have it in our house going constantly. Um, but it's a powerful antibacterial, antiviral oil, and it contains, I should know this off the top of my head. And
Yeah.
it doesn't actually, since it's a proprietary blend, they're not going to tell me on,
Oh,
uh, but it's got
it's a,
wild
yeah.
orange, clove, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, and rosemary in it.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those are such powerful oils on their own. But like Kara, you were saying about how doTERRA really just has, they know what they're talking about in terms of blending everything for this most synergistic effects. But you can use it. We usually primarily use it in the diffuser, but you can also use it topically as well. Like if they're, this is another one that I actually like to use, either oil pulling to create a stronger beginning of my immune system in my mouth. I oil pull with this frequently, or floss with it as well. And I rub it for children specifically. I know that they have the touch now as well, but if you don't have the touch that's already pre-diluted, you can buy this little oil rollers and add just a few drops of the On Guard essential oil and add the rest of specifically the fractionated coconut oil. And I just rub it along my children's spines when I know we're going to be around other people, or especially during cold and flu season, or if we've been exposed to some kind of germ or pathogen, then I just like to do topically along the spine or on the soles of the feet. Or if they're sick, like if they actually already have been exposed to something and we're fighting something off, I also dilute it with fractionated coconut oil and rub it on their core, their torso, their belly, their chest, and their back. And that's a really powerful and effective way, I feel, to strengthen our immune system. So again, for grown-ups or adults, I feel like that would be an appropriate use. Kara, what else would you like to say about lovely On Guard?
Yeah, I love all the things that you said about it is exactly how you should use it and how we use it. And then for myself, and the kids love it too, is you can take this oil internally because it's all the plants that we spice our food, and our kitchen has all these types of plants in it. So if I feel like, I think as we get older and more mature and wiser, we can feel when we're getting out of balance. And so this is a great oil that brings me back into balance. And I'm talking more physically, when I feel like my physical body is starting to get low and I need a boost for my immunity, is I make a tea with this, and all you need is one drop. And the emulsifier that I use is honey. So a little, like half a teaspoon of honey, one drop of On Guard, sometimes two come out, and that's okay. And then I steep it in some warm water. And then I add a little bit of rice milk or oat milk, and it tastes exactly like a chai tea. So it's really lovely tasting. And it just, like, I usually drink the whole cup of tea, and then my remedy is lying down for 5-10 minutes, not very long, just to be calm and let the remedy take hold in the body. And I feel like I can feel an immediate boost, and that it's going to prevent me from going in the direction of sickness. And it gets me back on track in that direction of wellness, because it's really hard to be sick as a mom and a business owner and a just active person. Like, I can't afford to be sick, and nor do I want to. I don't want to spend my time that way. So this is one of those oils that I feel like if I pay attention and see that I'm starting to get off balance, one cup of tea and a little tiny rest will get me right back on track with my immunity feeling strong and boosted. And sometimes I may have to do it 2 days in a row to get it to really, but a lot of times I know it's just that one time is all it needs. They do make this as a capsule, a soft gel, and I take them daily as one of my supplements. So On Guard soft gels, and they make them in little beadlets as well. Here's the little beadlets, and they come out super tiny. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like this tiny little micro beadlet. And the kids take the beadlets. When we were going to school, they would take it before they went to school, but all during the pandemic, they take it once a day. And they're so tiny, they can swallow them. Some of my kids like to pop them on their tongue because they like that it's hot and spicy. Yeah, and me and my husband take the soft gels every day. So that's On Guard. There's two more blends, and then we're gonna finish DigestZen. Let's go through it quickly. In America, it's called ZenJess or DigestZen. In Europe, it's called ZenJess. It's all those yummy herbs that you would find when you went to an Indian restaurant, a year ago.
Right.
When you'd walk out, a lot of times outside the door, there'd be some like rock candy and then a little tray of spices that you would, not everybody would, but it's recommended that you take just a tiny little pinch of that and eat it after your meal because it helps to digest the food. Well, that's exactly what's in this bottle. So I had just finished Ayurvedic school and knew about all those herbs and were in love with them because my digestion health was always a challenge for me. And Ayurveda was my solution for that. And then DigestZen was like, that's Ayurveda in a bottle. I love it. Yeah. So this can use, I enjoy it topically around my belly before or after a meal, just like in Ayurveda that they recommend you taking that little pinch of herbs and having it before or after a meal. I take that same philosophy with my DigestZen, but I rub it around my belly. It's really strong taste-wise, so it's fine to use it topically, and then it'll just absorb into the stomach and help with the digestion of the herbs. I've had people say that they feel it's most effective when they use it on the reflex point on their foot for tummy. And then my daughter, she takes after me, my second daughter, Hannah. She's 11. She has a little bit of those digestive issues that I had as a child. So she likes it in water, 1 drop in 4 ounces of water. It won't emulsify in the water, but that's okay. We just want her to get it in. So 4 ounces, 1 drop, she drinks it. And then I put a little bit of lavender around her belly for calming. And that's the trick for her. But so this can be used in the short term where you're just using it when you're feeling the symptoms. But if you want long-term digestive health, I would use it daily, minimum 1 time a day, but twice a day is preferred, and do it around the meal time. So before or after, rubbing a drop around your belly. I've heard Haley Hobson, she's really big in the doTERRA world, where she just does it every morning. When she wakes up, that's how she starts her morning routine, where she gets her digestive going and rubs it around her belly. I think I'm going to adopt that actually, because just consistency is so important. I'm going to put it with my morning facial oils, make sure I don't put it on my face and only put it on my belly though. Anything you want to add about DigestZen?
Just exactly what you were saying. I like to take it if I have any kind of digestive upset at all. I actually, like you said with On Guard, like to make a tea out of it. So just put a little drop in honey and then add a little oat milk or almond milk and then make a tea out of it. I find that just a really nice soothing way to take care of my digestion. And I also really appreciate that it comes in the capsules as well. So we take those like if somebody has an acute stomach, I mean, not while we're having acute stomach stuff, but whenever we're having, like especially if you've had a really huge meal and you're just like, I can't move, I need a little help. So that way, using the tea, rubbing it on your tummy, or taking a couple of these is really helpful. So that's all I have to say about DigestZen. I love it, and I'm excited to smell and partake of the new blend that they just came out with, I think, a month or 2 ago. So
right. And I'm not even sure how it's different. I need to look into that. So last one is Deep Blue. Do you want to take over with Deep Blue and then?
Oh yes, I love Deep Blue. So sure, Deep Blue, I'm going to see first if I can find, I don't remember off the top of my head what all oils are in it, but we've got wintergreen, camphor, peppermint, blue tansy, German chamomile, and helichrysum and osmanthus. And I love the Deep Blue because it comes in a few different forms. So Kara, it looks like you have the actual oil. They also have like the roll-on bottle that also comes in a lotion, which comes in a bigger bottle. But this is what I have right now because I just lent out my bottle of Deep Blue to another athlete friend who was like, ouch, sore muscles. So I love Deep Blue because it is such a powerful anti-inflammatory, such a powerful analgesic as well. so great for any kind of pain. So whether it's like arthritis pain, period pain, back pain, muscle pain from exercise, only to be taken uh, topically. So never internally. I've never, yeah, and there's not even really, I don't think that diffusing it would really even necessarily be very useful. So this is really just more of a topical oil
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to be used acutely to help with anti-inflammation and if you're having muscle pain or soreness specifically. I love it after a really strong workout. If I can kind of use it preemptively, I feel like it helps me to really feel my muscles before I'm actually exercising, but I think that it also helps with the inflammatory response afterwards if I'm really just feeling super sore. I also really love it like if I'm experiencing major shoulder tension. I seem to carry my tension in my shoulders a lot of the time, so it's just a nice way to remember to relax. I like to give myself a little neck and shoulder massage with Deep Blue occasionally. Um, but then also specifically if you have like an injury, not like a cut or something, but if you have like a bum knee or have pulled a ligament or a muscle or a tendon or something like that, really helpful to again draw out the inflammation and help to start soothing it. And then it also has some of the oils that are really good for the circulatory system, so it can help to get blood there to help it heal more quickly. So Deep Blue is something that our household uses quite a bit. And I think that's all I have to say about Deep Blue. Kara, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Deep Blue is pretty self-explanatory. It's topical use only. You don't take it internally, and there's not really any reason why you would use it aromatically, but it smells great. Like it smells
It's
like
really,
candy.
I love the smell of Deep
Yeah,
Blue. It's so
yeah.
good.
And it's just also, it can be helpful for headaches or tension headaches, putting it on the back of the skull. And it's great for growing pains for kids. You would want to dilute it. So there is a roller form. I don't know if I have it on me, but it comes in a roller form, and that's what I have for growing pains for the kids. And it gives them immediate relief. Some of it I know is placebo, but the other is because it actually does really work and give them immediate relief. And that is it for our 10 basic oils. And
Next, oregano, because it's very important. But
oh,
you
oregano, sorry, oregano.
I
That's our,
actually need to go like right now, actually, Miss Kara. So if you wanna do a quick talk about oregano, otherwise I have to mosey here in a moment,
okay.
unfortunately.
So oregano is like a stronger melaleuca. It's really good for cleaning out the gut. So it's nice to use it twice a year internally to really clean out your digestive tract and get rid of any non-wanted visitors in there, and also just grow new healthy bacteria and encourage it. So it kind of cleans everything out and then allows this new bacteria, healthy bacteria to grow. So it's great to take in your diet twice a year. For about a week, you take it internally. It is super hot, really hot. I haven't really found any way to take it, but in the veggie caps if you don't want to experience it on your tongue. So
Yeah.
just 2 drops in a veggie cap. You would take it 1 time a day for a week. And if you do that twice a year, you'll have your tummy and your immunity and your digestive tract will be very happy with you. Um, but it also is something that you could take acutely if you're feeling like you're getting sick. Your immunity, the largest percent of your immunity is in your gut. So taking this internally in a veggie cap to get rid of that sickness or prevent that sickness if you feel like it's starting to hit your home. The adults can take it. It's hard for kids to take because it's so hot. So anything else you want to add about oregano?
I just wanted to add that it's actually in, so this is my DigestZen capsules, but it's in the On Guard Plus capsules that come in
Mm-hmm.
this size. I love that. So like if you don't feel like messing with the capsules, that you can just take the On Guard that has, I think both oregano and melissa also, which is really strong immune boosting properties. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really the only thing I would add about oregano is that it's extremely strong antibacterial and antiviral. So I feel like it's sort of the heaviest hitter. And even like if, someone is experiencing, and I don't usually recommend taking it topically. I would definitely recommend taking it internally, but diluted and in a gel capsule form. But that is, if you're getting sick, oregano, oregano, oregano.
Yes, amazing. So this ends our call. I mean, everybody that's on the call is already with doTERRA, so you guys have all probably already gotten this kit, but this kit's so amazing. It comes in the 5 milliliter size, and it's retail, or it's wholesale price, gives you your membership, brings you into this community, is $160 for 10 oils. Each of those bottles contain 85 drops, so 85 different remedies for each of those oils. And so it's super, it's an amazing investment for your health, for the people that you introduce this to. It really is super cost effective. It's a little bit of an investment up front, but you'll have so many uses for it for the rest of your life. And that kit would last a long time. The next kit up from that, where you get the 15 milliliters and they're 250 drops each in each, so 250 remedies in each bottle, and you get a diffuser. And that kit, I know it in euros, it's 225 euros. In dollars, I forget what it is in dollars.
I don't know it off the top of my head either.
I think it's $300, a little less. But you get 3 times as much oil, and you get a diffuser.
And it weighs also.
And it weighs, yeah, you get your membership for a year, and it doesn't have the price here. And so thank you guys for being on. Celestia and I love to work together, and I think we're going to try to make a commitment of doing a class, once a month. And I think I'm inspired, because we talked about it a lot, is skincare, oils and skincare for next month. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm in if you are.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for being on, and thank you, Celestia, for being you and so amazing to work with. And Lizzie and Mayan and Beverly, and Lori had to go, but thank you guys for being here, and everybody on Instagram. And we look forward to growing and having you all as part of our health community, and really adopting essential oils into your lifestyle and seeing the power of essential oils as part of your habits and lifestyle. Thank you for being here. See you next time.
Fantastic.